Friend Bill.
Yeah, or Fran Raynard.
Cool, love it.
Yeah, man. I think we're live. Let me just kind of double check. Let me see, Raynard, if you can check it on your end.
Yep, we're on.
Awesome. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Automate Your Agency show. This is episode number 21. Can you believe this? We've been doing this for 21 weeks now, straight, by the way. And I'm super excited that we have. I mean, I look up to this guy. If you are a coach or consultant, it's impossible that you haven't heard about Andrew. It's just impossible. So, Andrew, thanks for hopping on here, man. I mean, dude, it's a pleasure. How are you?
Yeah, Fran, thank you so much for having me, man. I wish my lighting was better, but I'm super stoked to jam out with you guys and bring as much value to your audience as possible.
Dude, I mean, the impact that you make, like, doesn't matter what lighting you use, man. It shines. So, so we do this show every single week. We help a lot of done for you agencies here, and like, I know you serve a lot of coaches and consultants, but I think people in the done for you agency space, they can learn a lot about client retention, getting client results, making sure that you have a team of A players, and we can chat a lot about that. Like, I think you started, one of the first businesses was maybe an agency, right? I mean, a couple of years ago. That's kind of like how I met you. And then you pretty much grew to helping coaches and consultants. But dude, like, tell people about like your story, man. How'd you get started, what you're doing right now, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's been a crazy fucking journey over the past 3 years. Where we're at right now, we have our business is having our best month yet. We have $270,000 collected this month so far. It's the 23rd or the 24th. We have a team of 25 people now, and we're just rocking and rolling, and have gone through a bunch of phases over the past 3 years. I was 3 years ago, $82,000 in student loan debt, and only had $600 in my bank account. And I'm sure your audience knows Tai Lopez pretty well. I bought into this SMMA course, and with the last bit of my money, and didn't get anything out of it. But it was the turnkey to me becoming an entrepreneur, and actually gave me a lot of motivation to do my own thing and not have to work the 9-to-5 job. I was cold calling 50 cold calls per day, wow. Just hyped up on caffeine. I would maybe get like one person on the call per day. And then a few months passed, and then I stumbled across Dan Henry's course, bought his course, and that's where I got my first client. So I connected with Jeff Miller, Mackenzie Lieberman, Jordan Parker, who were all in the same process going through that program. And they helped me get my first client. So they kind of mentored me, helped me, trained me. And it was through a referral. I was at my friend's house, and her dad was just drinking around a bonfire. I was like, hey, I run Facebook ads now. And he's like, sweet, we need that. And I'm like, cool, what do you do? He's like, I run a coffee shop. I'm like, I can do that. And he's like, how much do I pay you? And I'm like, $1,500. And he's like, okay, cool. So that's how I got my first client. It's the power of network, right? And then from there, grew my agency, quit my job, moved to Cleveland, just worked out a classic entrepreneur story, worked out in my parents' basement for a while, was hopped up on pre-workout and caffeine and all that shit. And then started documenting my journey on my personal profile. And I actually got clients by doing door-to-door sales. So wow. I would walk into gyms and act like I was there for, you probably shouldn't do this, but it was a good way that I got my business off the ground. And I would walk in interested in their free trial, whatever it was, for a week or two. And then they would start selling me on their gym. And then I would flip it around and be like, yeah, they would ask me, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I run Facebook ads for gyms. And then flip it. And I started with the whole free trial stuff, and then moved on to getting client results, and then doing $1,500 packages per month. So that's where I got my start. I documented my journey on my personal profile. And then people started asking me, how are you getting clients for agency? And I'm like, I'm doing it this way. And I launched a beta program called Stupid Simple Client Acquisition, and got 8 people in at $800, made $6,400 in one day. on one post, one Facebook post. I'm like, holy shit, there's something here. And over the next 2.5 years, that kind of changed into a Facebook group. And now we have 17,000 people in our Facebook group. And it transitioned from teaching people agency to teaching people how to grow Facebook groups to teaching people how to sell coaching and consulting programs to teaching coaches and consultants how to scale past 7 figures with team and systems. And now we're here. It's a crazy fucking journey, but pretty amazing. I've grown so much over the past 3 years and just grateful for everybody that I met along the way.
That's awesome, man. And now you're in a multi-million-dollar business. I think you have 25 team members, right, that are on your team. And not just that, but the impact that you're making. I mean, I see the wins that you post every single day. It's amazing to kind of see your clients succeed. But dude, I mean, I'm curious. I mean, that's like a big transformation, right, in the last 2.5 years. But I think other than just the business transformation, I think you also transformed physically and mentally. I mean, do you feel like that was like one of the, I mean, did that help you kind of grow, you know, in terms of like?
Yeah, I mean, the business problems you have are actually just personal problems showing up in your business, right? So I don't think I would have started on that track of like just growing personally in my business if I hadn't set a 90-day goal. So when I was first starting with all this, right after I bought the Tai Lopez program, I set a goal to lose 20 pounds and to quit drinking in 90 days because I was drinking like 3-4 nights a week. It was not healthy. And I remember day 70 at the YMCA, I looked down at the scale and it said 162 pounds. And I was like, whoa, I was 21 pounds heavier just 70 days ago. And like, holy shit, if I just put my mind to something and just work for it, I can accomplish anything I want in my life. So I live by the quote, I'm master of my fate, I'm captain of my soul, from one of my favorite poems, Invictus. And I've just lived by that ever since. If I put my mind to something, I determine my destiny, nobody else. So it really comes down to the simple things, and just thinking about how can I make this as simple as possible? What are my values? What is my North Star? What are my goals? And just working your ass off to achieve those goals. I was actually hanging out with Tanner Chidester a few weeks ago. And we were talking about mindset. And he was like, fuck mindset. Just about setting a goal and working your ass off to achieve that goal. And I'm like, yeah, that's spot on. Fuck mindset. Just like set goals that mean something to you and just work your ass off to achieve them. And then along the way, you learn about leverage. You learn about building out systems. You learn about hiring people who are just, it's other people's work, OPW, leveraging that to get to your goals faster. I kind of went on a tangent with that, but I hope that was valuable.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have Nikas here. He says, Andrew Crozy, he bought the Messenger program. That's awesome. And yeah, man, I mean, there's a couple of things we can talk about. Obviously, there's client retention, there's your story, there's Facebook groups. I mean, for everyone who's watching, if you guys have any questions for Andrew, just drop it down below. But we started our Facebook group, man. Honestly, like I was just looking at your free stuff in your Facebook group. That was kind of like, you were known for that like a couple of months ago, right? Yeah. And, you know, we bought your program. It's super helpful, helped us grow our group, right? But what made you transition from, you know, you had your own agency, and then I think you transitioned over to helping people. Was it like helping them build their groups? Like, was that the next stage for you back then?
Yeah, so I launched the course Stupid Simple Client Acquisition, which was actually a coaching program. And then I launched another program on messenger bots because I was really good at building out messenger bots and selling them to agencies. And then my next one was Authority Accelerator, which we still run today, which is how to set up a Facebook group and launch your first group coaching program and make an additional 20, 30K per month.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And what's interesting is like, you're still like, as an agency, right? Like we help our clients, you know, get results, you know, client acquisition, all that good stuff. And you're still doing the exact same thing. It's just a different method, right? Different delivery method. It's just through coaching, through online programs.
Yeah, dude. I love agency and I love coaching consulting, right? People coming into the space looking at like e-com and looking at Forex and cryptocurrencies to make money. You're not really bettering yourself and your skills. Like inside of the agency model, inside the coaching and consulting model, there's so much like person-to-person interaction, which really, really helps you grow, right? So if there's somebody out there just starting out, like purposeful pain equals growth, right? So you're trying to shy away from that purposeful pain if you're going down the route of like, I just want to do Forex and sit behind my computer all day and look at numbers. It's just stupid, right? But I love agency and coaching and consulting, which contributes to so much personal growth that just filters into other areas in your life. So yeah, another tangent. But.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, in our group, man, like, you know, we help a lot of our clients, like in the agency space, you know, build systems, build teams and automations. And, you know, you do the exact same thing, right? For coaches and consultants, maybe a different delivery method. But let's talk about that. You know, let's talk about like hiring and getting, you know, A players. Like, what's your general philosophy when it comes to hiring and building a team?
Hire slow, fire fast. There's step-by-step processes to it, but it comes down to hiring in the right order, which is super fucking important in the coaching and consulting space. Always the first hire being an executive assistant, somebody that can get those energy draining tasks off your plate, like managing your inbox and customer service and all of that stuff. And then moving on to somebody who, like, what we're really good at is organic marketing. So we recommend getting a sales setter in place who can generate conversations to book sales calls. And then the next step inside of our space is an accountability coach, somebody on your team that can help you streamline delivery and get some more of that stuff off your plate. And then when you're there, really building a 7 or 8 figure business, it comes down to having brains and hands in your business, right? So the brains are really who's the head of your delivery department, who's responsible for strategy and those KPIs and making sure that system is running, who's responsible for the sales team, who's responsible for the marketing team, who's responsible for the operations team, right? And those are your 4 brains. And then underneath those brains, you have hands who are actually doing the tactical implementation of those things. So for the delivery team, we have accountability coaches and we have subject matter expert coaches. Underneath the operations team, we have people in charge of finance. We have people in charge of SOP creation, all of that stuff. Underneath the marketing team, we have our marketing assistants. Underneath the sales team, we have sales setters, sales reps, and we have a sales coordinator. So it really just comes down to building it out in a logical way, doing the right hiring order, and building a 7 or 8 figure business. You need those 4 brains in place in order to have the maximum amount of leverage, right?
That you execute and all that good stuff. Cool. There was like a 3-second timer. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Like, what was that? I was like, is this stopping? I think we're still live, right?
I think it may have stopped. Let me see.
Oh.
No,
we're still live. Yeah, we're still live. That was very interesting. I thought we just stopped there, but anyway. Yeah, but Andrew, quick question, man. So what was because I would assume like all those roles that you said, that was you, right? That was all you before, but then you started to build a team around that. But what was your very first, like if you could just go back, like who was your very first hire? What role was it? And, you know, if you could do it all over again, would you still hire that exact same role, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, so my first hire was actually an executive assistant. Why she didn't pan out, she worked with me for a year and a half, but I was not an effective CEO. I was not an effective delegator. I didn't have a solid vision in place. I didn't have solid systems. I didn't have solid documented processes. If somebody had just told me, document everything that you do in your business, I would have been so much more effective at delegating. If somebody had just told me, yo, open up Loom or some type of screen recording and just record everything that you do and delegate that shit, I would have been way more effective at working with her. So if I could go back, I would have documented more of my processes and delegated more of my processes. But nobody ever told me that. So I'm telling anybody out there right now, if you're looking for your first hire, just document everything that you do. and just we use Asana to delegate tasks. Great system to just know like where the task is at, if it's overdue, and document, delegate, get really, really good at delegation, and have a solid planning system. So kind of another tangent. Your vision drive your goals drive your planning drive your resources drive your execution, and your execution drive your results. So working back from there, okay, what's my vision? Okay, where do I want to be in 3 years? Where do I want to be in 1 year? Where do I want to be in 90 days? Where do I want to be in 30 days? Where do I want to be in 1 week? Where do I want to be in, like, what do I want to get done today to get to that 7 days to that 30 days? Yada, 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 right? And then planning that out, and then moving on to the resources. What resources do I need in place? Do I need a coach or consultant to help me think through the vision and the planning and all of that stuff? Do I need an executive assistant to actually implement some of this stuff, right? What are the resources that I need to pull together to actually execute on that plan? And the way that you execute is the results that you're going to get in your life and in your business. So that simple framework, just working back from the vision, is everything. So yeah, another tangent. But.
That makes sense.
I wanna jump in. Like, I think it's a really great point. Just like, having that vision, and like, I think that's something we always talk about, right? In this group, it's like, you just gotta start. You don't even have to work with us. You can just like download Loom. If you hit the limit, spend $10 a month to like get Loom Pro and just document everything, right? So I think one question I had was that, as you grew that agency, of course you scaled up and things like that. What do you think was the most, and you talked about leverage a bit, but for you, what was the most high leverage system that took you from, you would say, like still starting out kind of agency towards where you would say, like, I'm really running things and it's like things are really scaling up? Like, what was the most high leverage process or system that you were able to build? Of course, delegated, or like you were doing it. What was that for that business?
For my agency, I grew it to $15K per month. It wasn't anything crazy. Mm-hmm. And dude, that was just on sheer hustle. It was just because I told my brain to shut the fuck up and just do it, right? Yeah. So another amazing framework is just the value chain, right? Thinking of your business as a value chain, whereas how am I getting awareness of my ideal clients? How am I showing up in front of them? And then how am I moving them from awareness to being on a list to them being a lead? And then how am I presenting the sales opportunity? And then how am I moving the sales opportunity, the sales call, to a close? And then how am I delivering for that client? What does the delivery look like? And then how do I get upsells, referrals, and how do I get them to film a testimonial to advocate, right? To make it cyclical. So I wish I knew that framework like 2.5 years ago. If I had just thought that way, I would have been able to simplify my business more to build out the processes in that way. So what I was doing starting out, I was trying to deepen intimacy. I think if there's anybody starting out, what you want to do is deepen intimacy by either showing up in person or getting them on a list and nurturing them really well. Right. Mm-hmm. So like in the agency space, it's either you get them on an email list and nurture them through an email list, or you nurture them through paid ads and retargeting and all that. And in the coaching consulting space, I recommend that if you're doing under 40K per month, that you just do organic. You can build up a shit ton of cash flow. We just had one of our clients, John, do a $90,000 launch in 2 weeks after starting the program just from his Facebook profile, right? Nice. So like deepen intimacy by nurturing people on your personal profile if you're a new coach or consultant, and starting there. But my best system or process starting out for agency, I didn't have good systems.
Or even if for the coaching side or the group, I mean the Facebook group program you ended up building.
Oh my God, we have hands down the best fucking systems and processes and all of that. What I love is about 2 months ago, I built out an entire process around automating our content creation for my personal profile and Facebook group, where it's like we do the same content shit, and it's just my marketing manager builds it all out, and all I have to do is every Wednesday I go live and I say what he tells me to say, right? So
nice.
Having just like simplifying content and making sure that it's quality over quantity, and you're remembering the purpose of content is just to move somebody from a stranger to a raving fan and a buyer. So if you're just asking a bunch of questions on Facebook, yeah, you're getting engagement, but you're not moving somebody closer to becoming a raving fan and a buyer. You've got to shift their beliefs in how they perceive the objections, right? How they perceive money, how they perceive time, how they perceive what they're doing, and seeing that your vehicle is a better way of doing things than how they're currently doing it, right? And that's all content is. It's just overcoming objections and shifting people's beliefs to move them from a stranger to a buyer. And providing value, which kicks in reciprocity, which is a powerful human emotion to want to give back after you get something from somebody, right?
I love that philosophy, man, of like, you see content as something you can give to people, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they think of organic marketing, it's like they expect a client like out of one single post, right? I mean, you've done it. I mean, you did it before. But I think just the mindset shift of like, that's not the main reason. I mean, it could be a byproduct of that, but it's not like the main thing, right?
Yeah, we just had a client sign up with us who had been in our Facebook group for 2 years, and he'd just been nurtured for 2 years, and he just paid in full multiple 5-figure investment just right then and there. But it wasn't off one post. It was just, I created the container that I nurtured over and over and over and over. And some people take 2 years, some people take 2 weeks, right? But it's about just being consistent and focusing on one thing, like simplified, focus on one thing. I get hit up all the time from like people like, dude, grow your Instagram, you can make so much more money. Dude, grow your YouTube, you can make so much more money. But as business owners, we only have limited resources no matter what. So if I drag resources over to YouTube or over to Instagram, that's taking away from my resources that are focused on Facebook. And that's where we're getting the majority of our leads and our sales, right? So yeah, main lesson, like, don't spread your attention, focus on one thing. Right?
Yeah. It's kind of like we have 100 units of time, and it's like, how do you kind of divide that? What I love about your program, your course, when it comes to growing Facebook groups, is you have like 11, 12 posts that, we can kind of recycle and use. And I love how methodical it is. For anyone that's wanting to grow a Facebook group, you definitely check out Andrew's stuff. But man, like when do you think a person should actually start a Facebook group? Like, coaches, consultants, even agencies. Like, do you think agencies should also start their own Facebook group?
Yeah. So first question, when should you start a Facebook group? I recommend you start with your personal profile. If you can't get engagement and buyers off your personal profile, you're not going to get engagement and buyers from your Facebook group. So if you start both at the same time, you're splitting your attention. So we have clients doing $1 million off their personal profile, right? Not even have a Facebook group. But what I recommend is around like 30, 40K per month from your personal profile from group coaching, shifting to a Facebook group then, because then you have a bunch of people you can shift into your Facebook group right away and kick ass with it. As for agencies, we have about a dozen agency owners that wanted to build out a consulting arm to their business so they could profit more and have more impact and give more back. And I think it's when you get to a point where you have solid systems in your agency, you want to look at how can I profit more, right? And I feel like coaching and consulting is a great way to deliver more impact for clients than just the analogy. You're showing them how to fish, which delivers more impact in their life, rather than in the agency model, you're fishing for somebody else, right? So it doesn't impact their life as much. But yeah, agencies fucking kick ass. I would say get to the point where you've systemized a good amount of your agency so you're ready to build out a coaching or consulting on.
That makes sense. By the way, if you're watching the show, hashtag live down below. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down so we can kind of ask Andrew to spill the beans. But one question I wanted to ask, man, is we're in a bunch of coaching programs as well, right? And a lot of the times, the success that you get in a program is highly dependent on you as a person taking action, right? Because like the coach yourself, you could tell a person what to do, but if they don't move their ass, it's like they still don't get anywhere. And I know you've shifted a little bit, like in your content. I see you talk more about client retention, client results, operations, delivery. How do you deal with people that just, they just don't do it? I'm sure you have that in your program as well, right?
Yeah, we have way less of that than we used to.
Right.
Because doing this for 2.5 years, you kind of learn some shit. And the main thing is the course creation industry is so fucking broken. Like we don't really sell courses anymore. We have 2 programs. We have Authority Accelerator. And we have 7-Figure CEO. All of them have one-on-one support and also group support, right? And why people don't take action is because number one, they might not have clarity on how to implement. Number 2, they don't have the belief in themselves. So that's what we build our coaching around is, okay, how do we make the roadmap as clear as possible and simple as possible? And then how do we shift people's beliefs to believe in themselves? So we have different strategies, like in any program, starting out with quick wins. We have this thing called the mission post. If you've been on Facebook and you're in this community,
right,
you've seen somebody say, I'm on a mission to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's our shit. Like I built that post like 2 years ago, and it's made well over $10,000 collectively, or $10 million.
There you go. I was like 10,000. I was like, probably not.
Yeah, collectively for all of our clients. And that's one of our quick win posts, right? To generate sales. And then that adds into belief. And even if somebody's new, they get engagement on that post, and even engagement can install belief. And in all of our programs, the very first thing we do is we hop on a one-on-one call and we customize their offer and their messaging and their roadmap. Because that is what holds people back. Hey, what am I actually selling? What should the price point be? How should I talk about it? And then what's my roadmap from there? How do I get it out? What's my marketing and my sales around it? So we just give our clients the ultimate clarity right off the bat. And in the first week, it's just all about wowing your clients so they stay around, right? So clarity and belief in themselves is what inhibits action. So if you're creating group programs or anything like that, that's really what you should focus on. And looking at simplification. So it's not about having more content. I see that being a huge issue in this space. People are just slamming more content. People don't need more, they need less. They need like the 80-20 of what's actually going to move the needle. So that's what we have in our programs. It's just like, this is templatized. You do this, you get the action, and or you do the action and you get X result. So simplifying the fuck out your content. That's the main thing.
That makes sense. I think it's a big thing too for agencies, because like what you said, like clarity, right? Having belief in themselves. Because even if it's a done for you agency, you still need the client to do some work. Let's say you're a lead gen agency, you generate appointments. You still need the client to do something, right? Even the e-com space, right? Like we pretty much do everything for our e-com clients, like creatives, copy, media buying, but they still need to kind of submit something to us. So, I guess a lot of agencies, they get burned because like the clients just don't do the work, right? And so what's like, if you were to advise someone, Andrew, like in the agency space, and you teach them about clarity, about having belief in the client having a belief in themselves, like what's a quick kind of strategy that maybe an agency owner can take from that?
So having a teammate that's responsible for each account, and that's their responsibility, right? What if I was doing agency right now, what I advise the agency owners in my program to do is to set up a Facebook group for all their clients, to bring in somebody who is a master at sales and somebody who is a master at marketing, and do either weekly or twice a week or 3 times a week doing group coaching calls on sales and marketing for their teams as a group. And it's just a huge fucking value add to them. And some of my clients charge extra for that. Some people add it in for free because they're just trying to get more shit off the ground. But that's the easiest way. Like there's so many people inside these Facebook groups that would be happy to do some sales coaching and some marketing coaching. And it's a huge fucking value add for your agency clients. And it doesn't cost much. Like most of my clients are only paying like $500 per person to go in and coach 2 times a week, right? Really? It's a huge value add to your clients. Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is if you have an agency, you can create a Facebook group and you do coaching for your clients there, like whether it's sales or marketing, right?
Yep. Yeah. And like if you're good with like the operations side of your agency, you can bring in an operations coach, but it's a huge value add. Plus it's an upsell or cross sell for your offers. Like I see way too many people, both in the agency space and the coaching and consulting space, by not having upsells and cross sells for their client base. And where you're going to make the majority of your profit is not from new clients, but it's selling more to your current clients, right? So that's how we've been able to grow so quick. We only have 110 current clients that are on contract, but we have a multi-million-dollar business just from 110 clients. And that's because we're really good at delivering results, and we're really good at upsells, referrals, and people advocating and shooting testimonials and sharing wins. So like we have 2 core coaching programs, but we also have cross sells and upsells. And one of our cross sells is a done for you service of building out client success systems. So we build out the SOPs for your clients getting results. And I have a team that does that. So yeah, just maximize customer lifetime value to profit more in your business. Plus it puts an emphasis on actually delivering results for your clients, instead of in the agency space, just having your clients churn every 3 to 4 months, which just drains your energy, right? But if you can actually have less clients, but deliver better results and have more cross sells and upsells and add more value to their lives, then you will be way more profitable and you'll be way more happy.
That's true. And I think it's a lot harder to get a client than to retain one, right? In a way.
Oh, big time. Yeah, and referrals too. Referrals are 80% more likely to close than a lead that's coming in through paid traffic, right? So that's really what we focus on, is how can we get more referrals? How can we get more upgrades? And how can we get more testimonials? Because if we can get more of that, that's a testament to how well we can actually deliver our service and deliver on the promise that we put out there in our marketing, right? So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Before we move on, there's a couple comments here. Nuggets live emojis. That's awesome. Rainer, I know you had something right now at 9, right? But maybe we can stay here for like 5 more minutes, Andrew, if you're cool.
Cool.
Just kind of wrap things up. But yeah, man, like what's next for you? I mean, obviously in the last 2.5 years, you guys have grown so much, right? From just yourself, now having a team of 25 people. Like, what does the future look like for Andrew Croce?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I got to this point where it's just like everything's running. So it's like I can work on the business and not in the business. So I can think about, okay, like 3 months ago, I was like, okay, I want to build out a client success systems done for you service, right? So I was like, oh, that would add this amount of profit to our business. That means I could bring on these team members. Perfect. And like, I don't have to implement that shit. So it's like, now I'm just like pulling the levers, and it's like, okay, we'll have an 8-figure business next year. Our goals are by the end of the year to hit $500,000 month cash collected, and then next year do 8 figures, which is awesome. And I'll probably never leave the coaching or consulting space. Like, coaching is what lights me up. But ultimately, my big vision is shifting society. I just see way too many fucking problems out there because people are consuming way too much fear through like the news, through YouTube channels, through all that shit. So like what I've been thinking about a lot over the past 3 months is what can I implement? What business can I build that would help society connect more to themselves? Because at our core, there's just love there. Like when you remove everything, if you've gone to a Vipassana, or if you have gone to a Buddhist monastery and just gotten away from everything, there's just fucking love, right? When you eliminate the noise. So my thoughts is like, how can I help society shift from moving away from the fear and into themselves and like what is actually true? Because way too many people in society are way too heady and they're not living through their heart. And I went to Deer Park Monastery a few times, but I had a really impactful experience a year and a half ago, and identified my values, identified what I actually stood for, identified my standards, identified my vision, and that was just because I got away from all the noise. And like that's what I want to help people do in my life, is just like really connect to their heart and connect to like what their dharma is, what their path is, what their personal legend is, and have them follow their heart and not what talking heads are saying on the TV. So.
I love that, man. I think your latest post, I think you posted about like disconnecting, tuning out from your brain or something like that. And I love that.
Yeah, dude, I was out with a bunch of friends and like I was watching the TV and the news came on and I'm like, fuck, this is so toxic. Like This is so distracting. Like there are always going to be problems in the world, but they're so prominent because we have our phone in our hands and TVs everywhere. And we're like, oh my God, so many problems, so much fear. And it's like, okay, how can I eliminate that? Like, how can I have people really tune into themselves and get unplugged from the fear and the talking heads? Right?
Makes sense. We got a question here. I'm going to make sure we get this answer, but Nika says, as your success has grown, have you implemented accountability in your routines? I think it's a big thing to maintain a healthy balance. I guess what he's saying is like, like what are your routines right now? Right? Like,
yeah, I go in and out of routines. If anybody says like this is my morning routine and this is what I've done for my whole life, they're a fucking liar. Like
finally, someone said it.
Like I'm human. I go in and out of routines. I always try to start my days with what my focus is. So I have a morning intentions Google document that I try to fill out every morning. I have an evening review document where I try to review my day. I go through spurts of where I meditate a lot. I go through spurts where I do breath work a lot. But ultimately my routine fluctuates. But I always try to eat healthy. I always try to stick to a routine as much as possible, but I'm fucking human too. And sometimes I fall out of those routines and that's okay. Like everybody's human. It's main thing is like you have a goal. Yeah. And not like a lot of goals. You want to have less goals, but more standards for yourself, right? So one of my standards is I don't drink, right? So eliminating stuff from your life will add so much stuff to your life, right? So having just a few goals that you're shooting for the next 90 days and month, and just focusing on those things and accomplishing those things, and just make sure you have a pretty healthy routine. That's my advice.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Dude, this is awesome, man. Thanks so much. Where can people learn more about you? I'm sure you have 2 programs, right? You have the group, but yeah, for people that are just hopping on and watching the replay, where can they learn more about you?
Yeah. Add me as a friend on Facebook, Andrew Kroeze, Kroeze. Shoot me a message if any of this spoke to you, and just tell me like what was your number one takeaway or what you really got out of this interview. That'd be really awesome. But yeah, Andrew Kroeze, Kroeze.
Makes sense, man. And we ask this question every single time towards the end of the show. But like, if you weren't running an online, related business right now, if it's completely brick and mortar or something like that, what do you think you'd be doing? What kind of business would you be in?
Dude, some type of like I would call it a connection center or something. I'm very, very passionate about breath work. And if you've never done breath work, just check out Wim Hof on YouTube and do a 10-minute breath work session. But I would bring people together to do breath work and connect, like be able to lead with very, very powerful questions to allow people to connect and open up, because I feel like that's really missing from society. So.
Makes sense. Love that, man. Andrew, thanks so much, man. It's inspiring to see your journey. We're so honored that you're here. You joined us here today. You provided a lot of value for our audience, and so thanks, man. We'll hope you enjoy Arizona. How long are you staying there for?
I'll be here for the whole month.
Wow.
So for the month, then going back to California to get my new Tesla, and then we're driving it across the country to Florida to buy a new house because California taxes suck. So doing that, and then we'll see where life takes me. So
love that.
All
right. Thanks everyone for watching, for tuning in. This is Automate Your Agency Show with Andrew. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.
Cool. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks, Andrew. All right. I think we're off. Dude, appreciate you, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. If you guys need anything, just let me know. If there's anybody that is a coach or consultant, feel free to